Leprosy. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, folks. How you doing? Yeah, we there again. You know? Yeah, shout out to Barack Obama because I remember when he hopped off the plane or the jet, right? With the check saying Wagwan Jamaica. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, this seems to be a new arch enemy that have been brewing that had came to fruition now. Because if you are familiar with my channel, I be speaking a lot on arch enemy, right? And real life is just like the cartoon we watched or the movies, it's the same thing, the same mystical powers display just as in our life as it is in movies and cartoons. And it might seem far-fetched and weird, but it's actually true. Just like how the star always win because the star is the good guy and the bad guy always lose. You know what I mean? And I mean, a lot of y'all be like, but we've seen a lot of good guys die by the hands of bad guys here. And what you need to understand is that God help those who help themselves. So, sometimes you have to help yourself to win because there's a natural mystic that's flowing through the air, and Bob Marley told us. And that natural mystic, for one, there's millions of natural mystic that blows through the air, but one of them is that the fact that good shall always overcome and triumph over evil. Good always triumph over evil, cause a father got him have a black. Remember that. You know what I'm saying? So once you're good and you're fighting for the sake of good, whether to defend yourself from someone evil, majority of the time, once you try to help yourself and defend yourself, God will fight for you and help you to overcome. That is why we've seen NBA Ben 10 lost his weapon and got shot with it because All Star Junior never went out like a punk. It displayed character of God being mighty in battle. And similar thing that happened like 5 days after the occurrence or the event that had went down with NBA Ben 10 and the likes of All Star Junior, which was caused by J Prince Jr. That's a waste man. I hate that guy. He's evil. Him and his dad. And people like that who raise their son to be so toxic. Even Ti is evil. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't want to stray too far from the point and the joint that I'm bringing right now. You know what I'm saying? So with that have been said, right? This arch enemy thing, everyone, well, the most blessed people of God, right? They always have a arch enemy because the devil people will come at them, and the devil will find this one particular individual that he bless and chooses to possess the most of his demonic power to go against the good person who is highly blessed and favored by God. Which in this case here we see in K Carbon is the blessed one because I told you I've been studying these things from I'm a child. So I'm able to distinguish the good between the evil all the time. And sometimes there's a thin line. You got to know how to gauge it and how to see who is actually good from who is actually evil, right? And in my first K Carbon video, I'd made it clear that Pooh Shiesty is on the side of good. He is chosen by God, as weird as it seems to y'all. He's like a David who is here to lead the generation through the music, because the music is a powerful tool, and God wants the majority of youngsters and listeners, audience, to follow the artist that he chose to lead the generation, because God is not that person who just look for church people who aren't reaching the massive. God will use those who are reaching the massive. And I made it clear that I think that King Von wasn't highly favored by God, even though he made it to fame. But the fact that he never long lasted, he never tasted the fame for that long, or led the generation for that long, made it seem as if God felt as if he was needed to be removed. You know what I'm saying? So that Pooh Shiesty can be the front runner to lead the generation. because God love warriors, you know what I mean? He doesn't love coward. Coward is of the devil's character. When the lightning flashes and strike, the devil have to be cowering under his arm, under the ground, in hell where he is, you know what I'm saying? So we've seen K Carbon of this Gucci man, defending the big CEO, Pooh Shiesty and Big 30, the Chopper Gang Entertainment Clan. You don't know the 375, 375. Yeah, she's loyal. She's a ride or die. She's a sniper. She's a slider. She's a driller. She's a killer. She up the scope and tote the Glock on yo. You know what I'm saying? So don't play with K Carbon, man. Believe me, she'll shoot. She'll shoot. Yeah. So I'm new to this K Shiday, and that is with the arch enemy that I've been teaching people on my channel here. That arch enemy normally shares similarity. A name is very their name is very similar, like K Carbon and K Shiday, you know what I'm saying? And I had done some attachment and alignment with the likes of Julio Folio, his K Shorty, and Pooh Shiesty, K Carbon, you know what I mean? Because Folio had paid respect to Pooh Shiesty when he just got locked and he done a song that's saying free Pooh Shiesty. That was one of my favorite Folio songs. I loved it. I banged it a lot, even recently. And I was hoping that Julio would live to see Pooh Shiesty being free, So I'm really heartbroken to know that Julio wasn't here to see Pooh Shiesty free, because Pooh Shiesty is the one that motivates the gangsters, the good gangsters. The evil gangsters, they don't really like to give credit. Evil gangsters, they get jealous of the good gangsters when the good gangsters like Pooh Shiesty get that love and that, prove himself to be gangster. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, God gangster always get tested. Now we're gonna hear what K Shiday, the arch enemy, the new arch enemy of K Carbon. You know what I mean? And I always make it clear that the between each arch enemy, right? I always make it clear that the one who's on the side of the devil, who the devil give power to, they normally die before the ones God used. But there's also a thin line, because I said in everything there's a thin line. Sometimes the God people die before the evil people. But the reason how you would know that it's still a victory for the God people, because God people always gain the victory. When if ever there's an arch enemy, right? With one being good and one being evil. And it's not possible for two good people to be a arch enemy, but as I said all the time, that two good people can be in confrontation oftenly, right? But it's because of misunderstanding or other reason. And once they're good people and they come to the realization that it's misunderstanding, then they will and should take accountability and be like, okay, I realize that it was a misunderstanding. I'm sorry, whatever. And they should be both happy to know that it was a misunderstanding. And that would be two good people in a brawl, in a beef. You know what I'm saying? So if they without taking accountability, then they're not good people. You know what I mean? So sometimes two good people do clash, but the clash won't last. You know what I'm saying? But whenever there's one evil and one good, then the war is going to last. And a lot of times, arch enemy birth from friends becoming enemies, and sometimes it goes like this. I've been pointing out a lot of arch enemy here in the dancehall, like for one, a lot of y'all Americans and foreigners and outsiders, people outside of Jamaica, are familiar with the name Skilly Bang, and I've been making it clear that Skilly Bang and Ritical are arch enemy. They were once friend, and Ritical was Skilly Bang writer, ghost writer. But then once it got exposed and got out there, and producers start to make it clear and tell the public that Ritical is the one who normally writes for Skilly Bang, and then that's what caused Skilly Bang to get in his feelings, and then cause him to dish Ritical dirt, meaning start to treat him bad and start to avoid him. And that's how they separated, you know what I'm saying? So Skillibeng is the bad one, evil one, and Ritical is the good one, you know what I'm saying? And ever since they have parted ways because Skillibeng pettiness, right? Ritical always still pay his respect to Skillibeng, and we haven't seen Skillibeng mention Ritical once ever since he had got or felt offended because the public had found out that it wasn't him writing his songs. We haven't heard Skillibeng making any mention of Ritical, which proved that Skillibeng is the evil one and Ritical is the good one. But Skillibeng is being more blessed, and it's just because of the good person who wrote all those songs, his Crocodile Teeth songs. You know what I mean? But Skillibeng went on to trying to do it on his own, and it's actually working, but not as good as how it was in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And I applaud him for that, for not, because you do have evil people who uses good people and they try to hold on to that good people, or that good person, I should say, just because they want to use them. But the fact that Skillibeng got upset and he completely isolated himself, or separated himself, of more of a better term, from his friend who he got of who he doesn't like anymore because the public found out his ghostwriter. The fact that Skillibeng separated himself from him, I applaud him for that. Instead of you having this hate inside your heart for your friend and using him to continuously write your song, that would be a much worse, because some things are bad but not so bad. So what Skillibeng done was bad but not so bad, because he had took took it up in his own, to being responsible, learning how to write his own thing, and it make him better now. Learning how to write, it forced him to learn to write his own song without depending on a friend. So that is good. And then we have other arch enemy who I pointed out here in Jamaica, like the likes of Footer Hype and One Kevin, a TikToker. A lot of y'all foreigners supposed to see them on social media beefing back and forth for years. And as I said, arch enemy always share similarity. Now, Skillibeng and Ritical similarity, they're both black. And their name is like this new sensational name, ever new to the dancehall. And if Skillibeng and Ritical were ever to wear a Shiesty mask, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference so easy. I know how to tell them apart, and I'm gonna tell you their height. So if they were both in the same shiesty mass, you can know Skillibeng is taller, but their complexion are very dark, just alike, and they have similar facial features, So arch enemies, they share similarities, whether by name or whether by looks. Now I'm sure a lot of y'all are familiar with our Jamaican Popcorn or Popcorn. He was signed and he was brought to fame by Vibes Cartel, right? And he's signed by Drake for many years. I believe it's a 360 deal, you know. Um, so Popcorn, arch enemy would be Black Rhino, because Black Rhino was the one Vibes Cartel had signed first before Popcorn, right? And Black Rhino is short. Him and Popcorn sport the same hairstyle at the beginning of their career, the same hairstyle. They look so much alike, and then they had sound so much alike. Popcorn had sound so much like Black Rhino. You can see that Popcorn was inspired by Black Rhino, right? The young protege of Vibes Cartel. But somehow Popcorn came in when Vibes Cartel discovered Popcorn, signed him, and somehow Popcorn came in and had differences with Black Rhino, who was first before Popcorn. And it seemed like Popcorn had stole Black Rhino blessing, because Black Rhino was so loved by the people. And I get to discover that Popcorn is the evil one, right? But he's arch enemy with Black Rhino to this day. They don't really like each other. And Black Rhino is more full of love, and he has more love to share. Popcorn is more toxic and negative, and his ego is this big because of the little money that he has. And he probably has no money, but the hype make people think that he's rich, without much concrete evidence, because the fact he's hanging with Drake. So there's not much arch enemy I can point out on the hip hop scene, but for one, I believe that Jay-Z and Nas was one of the biggest arch enemy. There's not much similarity, but I do believe they're from New York, so that's a big similarity, you know what I mean? Just that alone. It doesn't have to do with their name or their identity, but it has to do with where they're from, and that makes them arch enemy. And their beef has been long, and I think Jay-Z, I would say it's fair to say Jay-Z won that beef, the long, mighty battle. Because why I would say that Jay-Z beat his arch enemy, Nas, because look, Nas may have won the battle, but the war Jay-Z had won, because success is always the best revenge, they say. You can't make this shit up. Success is the best revenge. So even if an artist was to defeat me in a battle many times and I became the most successful artist and his money is way below mine, then that people gonna say, look, he's actually the winner because he rose to success. Yes, he was defeated, but look at it. He's the one became the most successful, and that makes you the victory because success is the best revenge. You know what I mean? So Jay-Z is one, and that is why I can't say Jay-Z is evil. You know what I mean? I can't say. I know there's a lot of things out on Jay-Z that people say and accuse him of, but I can't be running with that, you know. So I see Jay-Z in a good light still up to this day, you know. And I've done other video in the past previously where I was skeptic about whether placing Jay Z on the good or on the bad side, but now it's finalized that he's definitely on the good side until we see him being disloyal to the good side of the universe. Because the good side of the universe will work for you and in your favor, just as God will work in your favor until you do something negative, something bad that you show no remorse, you will have failed to make amends for. You know what I'm saying? Then once you do that as a good person, then the good side of the universe and God will forsake you because you fail to make amends for doing the bad that you do. You show no remorse. You know what I mean? So now the bad side of the universe is going to favor you and will start to work for you. The devil will join you and start to bless you and give you his power. And it works vice versa. So if there's an evil person who's on the evil side of the universe who is doing evil, right? And he is tired of doing evil or she's tired of doing evil and he start doing good by the first thing, one of the main thing you got to do to for the evil side of the universe to forsake you as an evil person, you have to confess your sin to the public. You know what I mean? You have to show a great level of regret and you know that of change. You want to show that you're changed. Now when you do that, because action speaks louder than word and the universe do speak, it just doesn't have mouth like us, but it speaks through the things we see. Because what we see, the path we take, the road we choose to travel down, traverse around once we wake in the morning, our eyes were made to see that for a reason. The universe is a guideline, and our eyes is the window of the world. You know what I'm saying? So if you want the evil side of the universe to forsake you, so that the good side of the universe and God can take you and shape you and make you, then all you have to do is to confess your sin to the public, go on social media, tell them you regret doing this and you were a part of the Satanist occult or whatever, and you regret whatever, and then the bad side of the universe will hate you now and the devil will hate you. So the good side of the universe is definitely going to start work in your favor to protect you and God, right? While the bad side of the universe where you're coming from will start to fight against you. So I think I've said so much. And apart from Jay-Z and Nas being arch enemy in the rap game internationally and American scene, I think it's fair to also say Drake and Kendrick Lamar was a arch enemy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm feeling Drake, because there's always a thin line. Trust me. Kendrick may be the good and Drake can be the evil, but I'd have to look into it more just to be more certain. But for now, as I said, people can change, you know what I mean? So we have to wait for the change sometime and we can. But I'll definitely make a video of Drake and Kendrick Lamar because they're supposed to be arch enemy. I'm not sure about that either. I'd have to look into that. But it's definitely telling that they're arch enemy from the brawl they had that was ongoing for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Lil Wayne and Young Thug had some run into, but I wouldn't say that they're arch enemies. So there's not much I can tell when it comes to arch enemy on the hip hop scene. But for sure, these two, Shorty and Shiday, K Carbon and K Shiday, they're arch enemy. Just brand new now arch enemy. And K Shiday should die before K Carbon because K Shiday is working for the evil. Even though K Shiday, you can see that she's a good girl, but she's doing evil deeds because she never had to come at K Carbon. But God want to bless K Carbon, so God, I guess, uses these evil people because God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. He knows what is going to happen before it do. Is everywhere and there. So we are not ourselves. We are not ourselves. We are of the universe, and sometimes we're not in control of what we do. So You have to try to be conscious and also allow your subconscious to work. And a lot of these people have failed to understand these things that I'm able to teach you and to bring across. So let's get into this and see what K Shiday has to say to K Carbon about her song Dissing Gucci Mane. I'm saying,
I'm trying to figure out why the fuck I'm all the way in LA getting deals, brand deals, new movies, all types of shit. And I gotta go to the internet and I'm sitting.
okay, so she first started off saying she in LA, Los Angeles. Oh my goodness. You got to see the sign. LA, that's the city of the lost angels where they landed when God kicked Satan out of heaven and he took his legions of they had changed from angels to devils, you know what I mean? So they became a legions of devil, and that's where religion comes from. Religion. It's a legion of devils you're praising and worshiping, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's why they're all considered to be religion. But the Rasta thing here in Jamaica, the Rasta community, they consider themselves as a lifestyle, no religion. Not lifestyle, but a livity. Because style is something for entertainment purposes, seems only. So the lost angel, she started off the video saying that she's where the devil landed. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that we should hate Los Angeles, no, because I would love to go there, live there, and do everything there. But I'm just showing you the signs, how to connect the dots. You know what I'm saying? And how to see the spots.
Hearing my name being name dropped, but you can't even motherfucking tag me. And on some real shit, we grown ass motherfucking women. You ain't gotta.
So she's saying a lot of things that's just not right because she's saying her name getting dropped. So basically, she's gonna get dropped by K Carbon. She's gonna get dropped in the dirt, and that's what I'm telling you, that these people who be playing for the devil against God, good people, gracious people like K Carbon, they gonna usually die first. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if ever, because there's always a thin line, so let me remind you, if ever God's people die before the evil arch enemy of theirs, right? If God people who are arch enemy with someone evil and the God person had died before the evil arch enemy person, then you'll see how it plays out, that people will more reminisce or miss and be, calling and be mentioning the name of the person who had passed. And then when the evil arch enemy time comes to die, no one will speak on them and remember them and be talking about them, but people will still be talking about the good God arch enemy, right? And then the fact that when these good God arch enemy people die before the evil arch enemy, it pains the evil arch enemy who left alive to witness people reminiscing the good God arch enemy. So there's always a thin line because this world produced millions of lanes to get to the same spot. So for instance, 30 people are here, right? And 30 people have children in that school there, right? And those 30 children of these 30 people here in the school, the 30 children in the school, they all do music, right? They grow up to love music. Some of them fly out, right, to other country to live. Some stay there in their own country. Some fly to other country, but they all practice music. And guess what? They all end up here in this ceremony today, 30, 20 years later, competing to receive an award at the Grammy. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how life is. You can take many roads. Millions of people can take millions of different roads and end up at the same spot. You get what I'm saying? So that is just how the world works. There's so many roads to travel to get to the same spot. So you don't have to take the same route your icon or your idol take to get where they are. You know what I'm saying? And that makes things very possible. And the possibilities of making things impossible is greatly. That is why we can do anything we put our mind to almost. You know what I'm saying? Because there's many roads. And then what else she had said? She said her name dropped and she said some other crap, but I ain't getting into that.
Threaten me, ho? Because I ain't one of them. But I'm going to tell you something. If you really want to get down like that, we can go to a boxing match.
There she goes wrong. Well, I remember some of the things she had said. She had class labeled herself and she labeled K Carbon as a MFKR, mother effer. And that shows that this girl is chasing clout because you're a female. Why would you want to class another female and yourself as a MFKR, a mother effer? You know? So you're evil to your own womankind. And if you gotta love yourself first before you love others, and to see you degrade yourself like that to get some attention. Now this girl, K Shiday, who is threatening K Carbon, saying K Carbon called her out in Gucci Mane track, this in Gucci Mane. Now K Shiday is responding. However, she seemed like a good girl, as I said, but she just doing evil for the sake of clout and to kickstart her career, maybe. And so she's on the bad side now, the evil side now. Hopefully, she gets time to fix that and wants to fix it as well. But going up against K Carbon, she can't call her out for no boxing matches. She needs to get on a range and go practice how to use a firearm and come back and call out K Carbon, because Pooh Shiesty already had bought that gun store. He had been working on his aim with K Carbon ever since he got out, and that was what they usually do for years. But it's just that from Pooh Shiesty being locked up, they've been lacking a bit on those type of things to get ready for the war. So now K Carbon is definitely trained more than ever before and well prepared. And K Shade ain't like that. She ain't ready for that. You know what I'm saying? Look at K Carbon posture, pose, her style. She's gangster, she's wicked, and she's confident. You know what I'm saying? She ain't scared one bit. She's attacking Big Wap, showing that he's a little tight ass wap.
We can get in the motherfucking ring. If we get in the ring, call Aiden. Call motherfucking academics. I don't do all that shit, all that hood shit. Grow the fuck up, bitch. Matter of fact, I got something for that ass.
Now she's saying she don't do that hood, like acting all ghetto. You know what I'm saying? That's what she's saying. She don't want no beef. So she's basically a coward, and I be telling y'all that being a coward is of the devil. You know what I'm saying? Being brave and ready for battle is God's people type of thing. We need gangsters to protect and to defend cowards and weak people, and innocent people, people who haven't yet learned to embrace violence, because you need to learn to embrace violence, because violence has been around long before we were born. So why not try to learn to embrace it? Why be a coward, and why try to even stop it when it has been going on for so long and Jesus himself failed to stop it? You have to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? That is what it is. Yeah, until God comes. You know what I'm saying? We gotta fight for war for righteousness' sake. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what she's saying now.
That's why you talking? Your CEO all up in my motherfucking DMs.
You ready? You ready? We back. You know what I'm saying?
Why does that voice sound like Pooh Shiesty? But I guess it's a Memphis thing, and a lot of rappers want to use the top rapper's accent. Like if a rapper from Memphis is leading the culture, then you'll have rappers from other states trying to rap like the Memphis rapper who is leading, trying to sound like him. So definitely, I don't think this is Pooh Shiesty because they're loyalists, loyal to their side. And that is why K Carbon told niggas to pick a side in her previous song, this in Gucci Mane.
Quit playing, you know what's going on. This time just gonna be a little different.
Yeah, before I let this bitch have it, look, I don't play with hoes.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to pull it up black so I see what's going on here. So the caption I should have read, it said ex 1017 artist who was a member of the 1017 label owned by Big Guap Gucci Man, which is K Shiday. She's the one playing the Pooh Shiesty song. That is how she got Pooh Shiesty on the track. So this was definitely like a track that was shelved that she has gotten to bring back, or maybe Pooh Shiesty had done this, which I highly doubt it. Maybe he had done it when he just came out the pen recently before he got his ass back in. But free Pooh Shiesty, that's my dog. I'll die for that nigga. I'll kill for that nigga. And I'll do that for even strangers. As I told people, I almost got killed for a homeless, mentally ill guy because I saw some police woman beating him in the head with her baton. And I went there, my heart just reacted and couldn't stand seeing him in pain because he failed to even react, getting those hard, constant hit in his head by the police woman and the baton, that I intervene and put my hand up, try to shield the baton from hitting his head again. And the police woman, she turned to me and she faked me with the baton, like she struck at me, but it was to frighten me, you know what I mean? And that's when she stopped and she stormed off with the other two policemen she was with, you know. And I felt good that they had just walked away and stopped hitting the mad guy. But these corrupt police here in Jamaica, 23 of them just recently break and enter into some guy's home unlawfully and unalive him. 23 police officers here in Jamaica unalive the one innocent guy who is a innocent 9 to 5 civilian. He works a job, right? And the reason why they unalive him because he was having an affair with one of those police officers' woman. So the policeman, right? The policeman. So let me say this again. The guy who the 23 officers broke in his house and unalive, right? That guy who was innocent, he was having an affair with one of the police woman, right? And the police found out and had orchestrated for his other police friends and affiliate to break and enter in. And there was a camera in the guy house, so they all got caught. But our government is protecting them. They never want to take accountability when they're wrong. But whenever the street gangster is wrong, that is when they come out and you hear them talk. But when they're wrong, they don't talk. They stay silent. And that is why we need gangsters, right? And we need them to rise up against these unlawful, these unfair and biased and evil, corrupt, greedy ass politicians and corrupt law enforcement and corrupt injustice system all across the world, not just here in Jamaica. Gangsters are important, you know what I'm saying? Learn to embrace violence. Let me pull this back up.
All up in my motherfucking DMs.
You ready?
Bitch.
You ready? We back. You know what I'm saying? Quit playing. You know what's going on. This time just gonna be a little different.
Yeah. Before I let this bitch have it, look, I don't play with hoes. My resume got more interest than all them bitches, so you see.
I think I heard this song before I had just came across it on Instagram. It sounds familiar. You know what I'm saying? Her sound is very, she has a very powerful delivery, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe it's just this song because we've seen a lot of one hit wonders who they don't seem to possess or attain that skill or the understanding of the rap game. I love to say overstanding instead of under the stand because the stand will drop on you. So a lot of artists one hit wonders. Not all of them because sometimes they're dealt with shady like Ra Digga, who had worked with the likes of Busta Rhymes. You know, she was dealt with shady by the industry and the executives and the big mainstream devils who I talk about a lot of times on my channel, especially here in Jamaica in our music industry, fraternity. So yeah, as I was saying that her flow is very powerful, but as I said, it may just be the fact that her voice and everything is aligned well with the beat and everything. But if you were to put her on the next beat, she wouldn't be able to deliver that, prowess, that mystical, thing that would make it sound so unique like this song has. And I mean, I haven't heard K Carbon with that song as yet that we need from her. But she's definitely coming up. She definitely making waves, big waves. She got a lot of clout to her name. The fact that she attacking Gucci men now birth her arch enemy. This shows her who her arch enemy is. Definitely. So K Carbon is on the right track, doing the right thing. And the more artists work is the more they learn and the better they become. But not all of them, because not all of them have the intelligence to know how to go higher and higher. You have to have a great imagination and know how to read and see things different from just the bare eyes being worked, the naked eyes. Your mind have to have this vision and this sight to capture things too. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully Shiday has that ability and has the experience and the talent to be a good rival for K Carbon, just like Movado was a good rival for Cartel, and because they were both awesome, that propelled both of their careers. So once they are that good, then we'll see and we should see them elevating very high and far in the music, you know?
Involved. Like, baby, you should have called my acting skills great. Couldn't tell if you was a friend of both.
She be saying some things, but I haven't heard anyone saying the shit like Pooh Shiesty be saying. And as I told you, music is very competitive. So and we are used to the likes of Nicki Minaj, Lil Kim, all these bad bitches, Cleopatra, or Jamaican woman. She was Patra. Yeah, I think just Patra, or Jamaican female artist from the early 90s, and with Shabba Ranks. Those women could stand against any man to how talented they were. And, that is what we're talking about. Women, because it's a competition. So now the female artist needs to have and hold one of these female, like the Nicki Minaj, the Lil Kim, all these women, the Patra, the Lady Saw, or Jamaican. She's another Jamaican queen, a goddess, a goat, or a goat, GOOT. That's the greatest woman of all time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Lady Saw is definitely one of them. Spice is the newest one we had, and Shensia, from Jamaica. And Shensia and Spice have been in a beef that they be trying to hide from the public. But I don't know if they're arch enemy, but they're definitely beefing for a long time. And Spice seemed to have thrown in the towel at one point, where she had came out crying, saying that she doesn't have anything against Shensia, but it was her producer that caused Spice to you know dealt with everyone who were in some affiliation with that producer, and because Shensia was an affiliate of the producer who Spice never liked, why Spice had admitted that, she doesn't have anything against Shensia. But that is just a way of throwing in your towel. You want to remain, strong, and believe in yourself, not to try to make things friendly with your enemies. I mean, like, we stand for peace, but do it more intelligently if you're making peace, so it doesn't seem like, and that is why it's important to be wise. And there's no in between being a wise and a fool, because even if you're the wisest person, one simple mistake that you make will have the nation or the entire world looking you or acknowledging you as a fool, because doing something wrong or negative gets more highlight and exposed and talked about, more attention, than doing something good. So when you're good or intelligent, you got to try to be right and do the right thing all the time. And life tests us every day. So you have to learn from the everyday tests we get to try to better, because as I said, this universe and what we see through our eyes is what we need to see. And it trains us for future tests, future events. So if you're not learning from the past events, from the things you're seeing, from what the universe wants you to learn and focus on, then you're going to fail and be exposed as a fool, and ended up on the wayside, which is the evil side of the universe and the devil. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to fall victim that way. You want to be intelligent, because God is for the wise men and wise women, who knows and stand for fairness, equal right, and justice.
Roll call, bitch, you can barely keep up with flow, huh? How you say it, hey, you hopping, can't put the show. Tell you he in the cell now, stand, can't go get a.
She can't call K Carbon broke, because I mean, like, she's a part of a gang that, the money up, bro, and their money is not like K Shiday's money. Like, I don't know K Shiday that well, but I know she ain't a slider and a driller, killer like K Carbon, and put in work like K Carbon. You know what I'm saying? So don't be calling K Carbon out to no boxing match. She won't damage her nails like that. She be pressing and squeezing them gats. As a matter of fact, let's get it.
Call her back, he in my DM, say this ass and getting shit. It's my shiesty, so take these bitches, I play for keeps. Rolling deep, 100 goons.
Now, K Shiday be playing for keeps. Big Scar said that on No Clues with Pooh Shiesty. Yeah, quite a few rappers, even a rapper recently, we playing for keeps. Playing for sheeps. Oh, Big 30 said it. We playing for keeps. Yeah, I think that's a Shuts Out the Vet song. Yeah, but it would seems as if K Shidena is fighting for Pooh Shiesty, trying to take Pooh Shiesty or trying to claim Pooh Shiesty. You know, telling K Carbon that look, you and Pooh Shiesty be taking pictures and doing all that. He's mine. You know, that's what she's saying right there.
I trust you know 100 heat spares on him. Tell him that you go and pick her up. I put carbon down like five of my bitches said, who that sit up?
Oh, she had Carbon name in there. Damn. And now she's in the position of holding a chopper and spraying it. So now she's on that ghetto thing. Now she decided on that ghetto thing. Let's get it.
I'm big in your city, couldn't breathe, you couldn't wrap it up. It's the best you ever had, we drinking, wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, she's saying a lot of things. The captions read, K Shiday respond after K Carbon mentioned her in the Gucci Mane diss. Who had the better diss? Who had the better diss? I would say K Carbon because K Carbon did some folio gangster type shit, went on his block and did that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's legit. Shout out to G Herbo for that legit.
Spin a block, then we spin again. You ain't got no hit, so you can't kick it with your friends.
Oh, she's spinning the block. She definitely on that ghetto shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she ain't got no much tits though. So K Carbon is much cuter. K Carbon for the win already when it comes because this is how you judge arch enemies. Arch enemies, the competition is everything. When you're judging your enemy, remember success is the best revenge. So you want to make sure because the fans is gonna compete with everything against them. Who is older? Who is more colorful? Who is darker? Who was born on what month? Who is God's favorite? Because I'm doing that, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we should be more focused on more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Who is God's favor from who the mainstream devil's favor? You know what I'm saying? Because we see in Massacre, y'all know Massacre and Tommy Lee. And Tommy Lee had killed Massacre career in Christmas, December that had recently gone, like 5 months ago. And Massacre, he's a mainstream favorable artist, but the streets doesn't prefer him. The streets prefer Tommy Lee because Tommy Lee is a real gangster. He's a Vybz Kartel protege. Vybz Kartel brought all them niggas to fame. Vybz Kartel gave Massacre his first international hit song, and Massacre proved to be ungrateful to Vybz Kartel. But Massacre seems to have a better career because the industry devils be forcing his content in people's face everywhere, right? And no one has been seeing much of the content Tommy Lee has been putting out after the beef because that is the thing, it's God against the devil. And even though Tommy Lee is known to be the Uncle Demon, that's his moniker in the music. He's the Uncle Demon, he's the Lord Lucifer. You know what I'm saying? And Tommy Lee get a lot of fight. They ban him from a lot of Caribbean countries and other countries for, taking on the image of these dark ghouls and monster, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of countries and their leaders and representatives believe that he is negative to their people and on the culture. So Tommy Lee get a lot of fight, and that is the thin line between good and bad because someone who entertain being the devil, you know what I'm saying? People want to think that he's on the side of the devil. No, that's not how it is. There's always a thin line. Massacre, who plays and acts as if he is good, he's very ungrateful. He's very selfish. Tommy Lee has brought many people to fame. You have to look at action and not words, you know what I'm saying? So Tommy Lee brought a lot of female and male to the industry. Tommy Lee have just brought a new artist to the industry who is rising to fame now. His name is Cash. He's a rock artist, rock dancehall, and that is like a new genre that we've seen Tommy Lee started. You know what I'm saying? And he got a lot of protege himself. So he's very influenced way more than Massacre. But the industry devils push Massacre in the people's face. So you have to know how to gauge and how to judge. So Tommy Lee is God's favorite because he cares and share his wealth. He invests in other artists and put them out to the world so they can eat and help others just as he has done. Just as how Vybz Kartel brought Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee is bringing other people. And that is why I will die and kill for Vybz Kartel too against these devils who keep fight against him. Because the music is like a crab in a barrel. They all want to pull each other down. Anyone reach high and seems to be coming out of the barrel, then many crabs will try to tear you down and they try to go up. That's how the music is. That's how life is too. So whenever there's a crab like Vibes Cartel or any other successful artist who have managed to make it out of the barrel, then that is God's will, that is God's choice, God's power. You understand? Because you don't just rise to success like that. Right? You have to be favored, highly favored by God. Like K Carbon, Pooh, Shiesty, they're all favored by God. You don't want to diss these people. It's a competition. And if you look at K Shiday, she looks more aged in her face, and she don't have the nice breast or chest like K Carbon. You know what I'm saying? So K Carbon is definitely in better shape, better appearance without all these surgery. Looking so fine, so sexy. And K Shorty is black. God is black. I'm sorry to say. We love white people too, because love is the answer to all. But God is black, and that's just the truth. And K Carbon is more black than Shiday, which is a sign of K Carbon being God's favorite. You know what I'm saying?
Bitch. You ain't got no hit, so you can't kick it with your friends, bitch. You ain't got.
Yeah, I'm hot, they all want me. Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, they all want me. Yeah, that's a legendary beat. Legendary. You know? You're legendary. But K Carbon is gonna tote her gun up on this chick, man. And she gonna record it. And K Carbon, she gonna find a song we all want, you know what I'm saying? And I want to see her up there like Megan Thee Stallion. Because I was a big fan of Megan Thee Stallion before she rose to the top. And then, it seems like she switched from being that good soul that she was, and she switched over working in favor of the bad side of the universe. It seems. And I gotta still look into it, you know what I'm saying? Because I love my Jamaican music, but I also do love the rap music, the R&B, the souls, all of the new females and all the new genre that we see coming out of America, especially all these SZA and Normandy, I think her name is. Yeah, all these female Doja Cat, they're awesome. The Taylor Swift and all those girls too, the Miley Cyruses and all of them. We love them. We listen. We love music. We're music lovers right across the board. That's why we bringing this to you. All type of news and interviews and reviews. Yeah, back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. I say
Oh, so you can't kick it with your friends.
back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all want me. Back then they didn't want
Cut
me.
all the gangster shit out. It's not cute. You look like Lil Bill with a motherfucking wig, bitch.
Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all. Okay, she hate rats. Rats bring leptospirosis. I'm being honest here. I don't want y'all to say I was biased with K Shiday or with K Carbon. I'm trying to look for the negativity here that K Carbon spews against herself, because as I told you that English is a tool, that it's a witchcraft that was taught to us, and it's a tool that is being used against ourselves to bring ourselves down. That is why it's important to change up your speeches. Like instead of saying appreciate, you say appreciate love. Instead of saying dedication, say livication. Because we want to live. We're not here to die. But we shouldn't fear death that much. You know what I'm saying? Or fear death at all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a part of life. Yeah, let's get it. K Carbon is hot. She started off with a fire track too. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen any mistake. She's saying she hate rats, which is Gucci Man, Big Guap, who is a big tight ass wop. But the nigga can't rap. That's much better than when we've seen K Shiday been classing herself and K Carbon as a MFKR, a mother effer. Because now she's classing a nigga as a pussy ass boy, you know what I'm saying? Which is way better. So you see the similarities, they're arch enemies, you know? Yeah, she's saying some things, you know what I'm saying? And she has her distinctive voice and that sound, you know. I think she should try to find other sounds too to play with. Because music is an experiment, and it should be an experimental type of an event, where you try to, don't just stuck with one sound. Like, try to trick your fans by sounding like something else. If they don't see you, they won't know it's you. That's how Vibes Cartel songs are. Like, a lot of songs Vibes Cartel do, the greatest of artists too, even from Michael Jackson days. Like, if you heard Michael Jackson Thriller, Thriller Night, and then you heard his World Peace song, it's two different type of vibes, two different type of vocals. You know what I'm saying? So if you didn't see his picture and his name behind the song, then you wouldn't know that it's Michael. But nowadays, these artists sound the same. Their very first song sounds just like every other song that leads up to their 500 songs. You know what I'm saying? With no differences, no type of transparent, no transitioning, no, no verbals, none of that. Three thirty three 375. I think 375, but she said it away, Yeah. Yeah, that's K Carbon for y'all, man. She's true to the gang. She never told you're fold. She's bold. Like them blackberries. Yeah. And K Shiday is gonna get buried by the blackberry. The black is gonna bury Shiday. Blackberry Shiday, Blackberry Shiday, she Blackberry Shiday, and that wasn't today, and that was yesterday, and that wasn't to say, and that wasn't to pray, that it wasn't to pay. Blackberry Day, she Blackberry Shiday, the Blackberry Shiday, the Blackberry Shiday, the black, the gat. Berry Shiday, the Blackberry Shiday, the Blackberry Shiday. Hey, if you're gay, carried away, hey, if you're gay, don't get carried away, hey, what you say, you're married today, hey, but I ain't married today, hey, the Blackberry Shiday, hey, the Blackberry Shiday, hey, Blackberry Shiday, it's Blackberry Shiday, the K Carbon against the K Shiday Carbon, Berry Shiday, the K Carbon, Berry Shiday, the K Carbon, Berry Shiday. That was way saying today, yay.
I'm trying to figure out why the fuck I'm all the way in LA.
The city of the Los Angeles, man. Can't be found. I'm gonna end this now. I'm out, y'all. We end it here.